Here we go. River Trolls, Orcs and Goblins. So I started out with some black spray. As you can see, it's a little bit glossy. Just using the Krylon flat black spray. First thing I did here is I painted the skin a Narlock green. It's a Citadel Foundation paint. Nice even coat of that. Then I started on the scales. I wanted them to be sort of an aqua color, so I used some of the Reaper Aqua blues. And then I'm just starting to add the different colors here. So this is like a burgundy kind of a color, again from the Reaper range. I used a bit of a different green for the seaweed type stuff, and dark gray for the spikes and horns and all that. Just a stone shadow from Reaper for that, obviously because of stone. Calfin brown and scorched brown here, and a little deneb stone, I think that is. So now I'm starting into some washes. So this is watered down green, Thraka green wash. And I've also painted in a bit of shades in the dark areas. Because this is such a big model, you kind of have to paint in some of your highlights. The washes aren't enough on their own. Now I'm starting to work up the highlights. I'm using one of the Reaper green triads. You can follow the link in the description to find out all the paints I used. Have them all listed. Basically using the Reaper triads to build up the highlights here. Just layering up. I'm going to be doing the same thing with all the different colors. I use some purple inside the mouth here. That's a scorched brown base, and it's going to go up to a vomit brown highlight. This is starting on the scales with the highlights. Basically just work it up just like a turquoise aqua triad from Reaper. You see I'm also starting to work on the bases. And yeah, you can see the edges of the highlights there. So I'm just basically working up towards the top. The base there is the middle, the base darkest color, and then working the middle tone, and then the edge is going to be the highlight. Working up the highlights on the wood there. Same here. So this is just Beastal Brown, Snakebite Leather. This is the Reaper Stone Triad. So it's Stone Shadow, Weathered Stone, and Polished Stone. Working up some of the highlights there on the face. These browns here for the sort of the fin type stuff. That was the Reaper Rust Brown Triad. So it's like a mahogany brown, middle brown, and then the rust is the highlight. Starting to work on the vomit. So again, using vomit brown fittingly for that. And some bleached bone type of highlights here. Fish. Now for this fish I used one of my airbrush paints. It's like a pearlized paint, so it kind of gave it a bit of a different color. These are Army Builder swamp tuft. Oh, actually, sorry, those are Highland tuft grass things. And here we are finished. So I used a slightly different green here. That's like the leaf green triad from Reaper, as opposed to the pale green triad for the skin. The pale green shade is actually almost exactly the same as Narlock green, the Citadel Foundation, so those go together well. And the Reaper Stone Triad there, Reaper Bone Triad for the bone pieces, and use some darker colors there for the teeth. You can see that's the Rust Triad for the Reaper paints, just to give a bit of a contrast. And you can see here I tried to give a bit of a texture when I did the highlights, just so it didn't look too smooth, because these are really smooth parts here. And I like how the bright blue green turquoisey color came out. I wanted these guys to stand out on the battlefield compared to the rest of my orcs, which are mostly red. So here you can see a bit more detail. Should have done a bit of filling here beforehand. And there's a couple little gaps in these models. Not a big deal, but could have been done better, I guess. And also note that the poses for these arms, they're all interchangeable, but you can only pose them one way. So there's 5 sets of arms that you get in the kit, but they kind of fit in a certain pattern. So this set of arms can only go in that pose. Same with the legs. There's 3 sets of legs, and they go with certain bodies. And then you can kind of pick these, the back fin that go with the head. They match. And there's 5 sets of arms. Obviously, you end up with 3 extra. This one here's got that cool little dangly bit in the front. And again, you can see some of the gaps. They're not too bad, but could be better with a bit of green stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out my blog. It's like watching paint dry.blogspot.com. And you can also follow the link in the description below to see the whole list of paints as well as the still images that you just saw. Thanks for checking it out. See you later.